Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again today. Been a little bit AWOL, sorry. I have been working, it's just that we've had a house full and I haven't had a chance to film. There's not been a space in this house where it's been silent for over a week. So, Happy New Year, happy 2023 everybody. Hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. Hope you all had a wonderful new year. And I hope this year will be nice and secure for you and with plenty of crafting time. Me time. That's what we all need some stage. So, back onto our 12 by 12s like last time, where we used our 12 by 12s to do a slimline journal. So easy and all the rest. So I've been fiddling around with more 12 by 12s. So we've got, excuse me, got this little album, not quite finished. None of them are finished, but I've done a couple. So this one is actually closed with a magnetic closure. So it has a 1/4 inch spine down here. Sorry, that's Bertha. She must be running slow. And then it has a 1/2 inch spine on this side because this is where it all tends to gate a mouth. So these ones keep them nicely intact. If you open it up with this one, you've got pocket here. I've got lots and lots of journal space. So with these sorts of ones, I wanted to use up my 12 by 12s, and that was the whole point to it. Some of them don't go. So what I've done is I've tea-dyed one side, and then the bright sides, been tea-dyed again to tone them down, and then I've covered them in papers. Okay, so they're again my scrap papers. So sitting in front of me, and that's what all this is about, I'm just going to reach up there. Sitting in front of me in paper holders, I have coffee dyed, lined papers, just scraps, bits that have been cut through and all the rest. And they're what I've been using for my backing. So, as you can see here, I've left a little bit of the outside colour. That was the other one of this one. Again, some grid. The only other thing I used was some grid paper that it's not coffee dyed, it's tea. Yeah, no, it was coffee dyed. It was just done at my desk. Got a pocket here. There's not much in this one yet. Pocket, few things to cover up other bits that were already on the paper. Another pocket. So there's lots and lots of journaling space. Yes, there'll be a few clusters and bits and pieces of ephemera popped in here, but it was just mainly the idea of being able to use, again, different ranges and get through all of my scraps. So that's that one. So I've done my journal card on front and back, and again I was using my die cuts that I already had cut out. This one was off the paper and I've just used glossy accents or a 3D medium, you know, those glass mediums, Dimensional Magic, on my birds, just to give them a little bit of extra. That I've actually cut those birds out because they matched this paper, stamped a little bit and had a tree branch already cut out in my bits and bobs. So that was that one. That was using a full 12 by 12 sheet. This one was, I had a scrap of 12 by 12 that had a chunk taken out of it. So 12 by 12 had a chunk taken out of it. And then when I cut it, I realised that it also had 1 inch or 2 taken out of the top. So that's what this one is. Same idea as the other one, but with a smaller piece of cardstock. So because it had that inch taken out, I've added a little bit of brown cardstock. Now that was a folded blank card that I had from my card making days. So again, it's all been scraps, and I've just put the full thing in there and made it into a pocket at the front. So this one is a bit of leftover envelope that I had. Because if I'm using an envelope to put up in, I might cut them in half if they're too big, or cut them 3/4. And I usually have little bits. And these were sitting on my desk, so that's why they went in. I've used one 12 by 12 page in this, which I cut into 3. So 3 4-inch wide strips. I've then trimmed them down a little bit because this whole thing I think was a 4-inch. Yeah, it was a 4-inch wide strip that I cut out of this paper. So I had to trim these down a little bit. So that was a little bit left over from this paper as well. So you can see the other side. A bit more of that blank card. Another one of these that I've done as a full 3-fold. Little bit of patterned paper that I had sitting around from this range. That was another blank card that I had. But it was a long piece that I think I'd picked up in a paper pack somewhere. So I folded it in half and popped that in. Again, I've used some of that coffee dyed paper that I've got sitting here. This was, and we'll go back and find the rest of it. Right, this was another little envelope that I had. Okay, just a tiny one I had left. So what I've done with that is I've made one bit. There's the flap. Sorry, that's from that original one. Where's this one? Where's this one? Where's this? There it is. Right, another little envelope. So here's the flap of it, but it was really tiny. So I've added some card, well, not some cardstock, some strips like that, which actually came out of those when we were doing the paper bags the other day. So those little bits were in the bottom of my paper bags. And of course I kept them. So what I've done is I've adhered them onto my little flap, which was down here, to make them a little bit wider. And then I've popped some shapes that I'd popped out of 6x6 paper pads or whatever else, which I always use as my cluster bases. And I've done it either side to make a full flap. Centre of the other side of that envelope. So, like so. Covered front and back because it was had a little bit of a window in there. The other side of that card. Another fold out. Now that one's a pocket as well. And the other side of that envelope. So easy. Now this one I haven't finished my closure for because I want to pop a brad on there with some elastic which will go around it. But for the life of me, I can't find my thin hat elastic. So I'm going to have to go out today and do that. But I had a chance to get a video done because nobody else is up and I'm up early enough for it. So I just thought I'd show you as is. Right, these things are so easy. So what I've done is I've pulled out a selection again. Not that. I've got a box. Hang on a moment. Let me show you. I've got a box somewhere here. Oh, that I have sitting under my bed. That, I don't know if you can read that too high. Offcuts, it says. And it's just a big 12 by 12 towel box. And I have offcuts from scrapbooking paper in there from my scrapbooking days and card making days. These things have been sitting around forever. Some of them are newer. Some of them have been around forever. So I've just pulled a selection of those out. And I thought we might make another one with that. So the one I liked to start with was this. It's already been partly used. So this is going to be my front cover, which will determine my size. So I'm thinking, what are we? It's about 6.5, 6 3/4 inches. I don't think it's straight. We'll work on that, get it straight. So to start with, we will take off our descriptive strip, barcode strip, zip strip, whatever you want to call it. And we will set that aside because we may be able to use that in there. So we'll just give that trim. I'm sitting here looking for my glasses and just realised they're on my face already. So they're obviously not working today. Right, that definitely looks out of whack, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a bit under 6 3/4. No, it's not, you know. All right, as we were, set that aside. I'm going to move all these others. And as I said, I've just got a selection of bits and pieces, and it's probably only going to be that section I want. I like that. Don't need that. Thought I might be able to use some of that in there somewhere. Just a little strip there. Some more grid paper, but check out the other side, and that's why we'll cover the other side. And then I've got that one as well, and I came across this. So this is a Kaiser Craft one, and it's actually paper. It's not a stencil. You could use it as a stencil, but I might be able to use some of that. So I thought, well, because they were just all out of that scrap box. So this is my size that I'm going to use. Now we just need to work out what we want, and it's best going from this side so that you've got your flap, then you've got your 1/2 inch, then you can work out what you want for your full length, 1/4 inch, and then your remainder will fold over. Okay, so with this one, it was a full 12 by 12. If we measure this one, we've got, I think it's about 4 1/2, 4 3/4, and then 1/4 inch. So then you'll go 4 3/4 again, or 5, depending on where you want it to finish. So I've gone about 5 there, then 1/2 inch, and then whatever's remaining. So it's usually about 1 1/2 inches for your flap at the end. So we'll pull out the, move you. We'll grab the scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard, don't stress. And look, I don't mind, either side will work. So let's have a look. So that's going to be, if I do it that way, that's going to be my bit there. That one would be my front cover. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks all right. Right, so this one is, am I in shot for that? Bring it down a little bit. How's that? All right, so we know that this one's 1 1/2 inches. So we'll take that to 11. We want a 1/2 inch for our spine, or for the second spine as such. And as this one's a 12 by 12, we're going to do it the same measurement as the big one. So we're going to go down 5 inches, so 10, 5. Just a 1/4 inch for your main spine. Now you can do these larger if you want. And then you've got 4 3/4 for your front piece. Make sense? So 4 3/4 and a 1/4 makes 5. We're going to go 5, we're going to go 1/2, and then 1 1/2. But as I said before, the other one was all out of whack, and so it was just, it ended up being what it was because the paper was so chomped down to start with. And I didn't realise until I started actually folding it and scoring it that it was missing 1 inch, as it does. So on that side, that's our front cover. So we've just folded over at that first score line and down. Go to your next score line. Now this is a fairly heavyweight cardstock. It's a Marja design. So depending on what ones you're working with. So like when I work with the Kaiser Craft ones, they're a really lightweight scrapbooking paper. These ones, as I said before, are a bit heavier. So watch when you're going that it's still going nice and straight. So you can see I've finished this. If if I sit my ruler there, there's that one, and there's that score line. So you can see I've finished it just a little bit further in, which just gives me a little bit of space to open it out. I'm just going to open that while we fold these ones. So my first one, I'm just sitting my fingernails in and folding it over on there, checking as we go that we're nice and even top and bottom. And again, putting your fingernails in, which just give it a little bit of a crease. If you don't have fingernails, that's fine. You can always sit your ruler there and then fold it up like so, which gives you that nice sharp crease from the start. We've all got lots and lots of tools to be able to use when we want. Right, so here we go. In essence, there it is. Now, as I said before, these things can be any size you like. So this one is not quite 6 3/4. This one is 7. So it's not that much smaller than our original one. So here's our basic, and I'm just gonna, might go back to being soft. What do you reckon? I've been using the gathered twigs, nice and dark, just for a change. We'll go back to our brushed corduroy, and this way we can see our score lines as well. So if we go down our score lines, hold that one back over, just rub it along there. You can then see, and it looks like it's been handled and loved. It is up to you whether you like that effect. You might not like that effect. You might be over that effect. It's wholly and solely up to you. Me, I like it. I don't think my paper's quite finished off. I try. I will try not to ink, and then all of a sudden I have to ink and go back and ink everything. So just very quickly go around, give it a little bit of oomph. Right, so there's those score lines. Now we'll do these ones so that we can see where they are. Right, so now we can see where everything is. If you want to do the same on your other side, just lightly fold them back the other way on themselves and quickly run down like so. Because this is a double-sided scrapbook paper, double-sided 12 by 12 paper, I don't need to put anything on here unless it's something that I know I hate and I wouldn't be happy having on a journal. Let's face it, there are papers out there that we don't like, somebody else might like, but we don't necessarily like. So if you're doing your journals to sell, sometimes you need to move out of your comfort zone and utilise some of those papers that you've purchased on a whim and just use them. Just because you don't like them doesn't mean others won't like them. And if you really can't use them, do as I do. Find one side that you're slightly comfortable with and cover the other side. That's the only way I can get through mine, because there are some of them that I have no idea. Well, I do know why I've got some of them. I used to have a shop, so I've got offcuts from when we ran classes and things like that. And I won't chuck them out. Why? So I'm doing this. Mine I sell, and it surprises me sometimes. You know, I'll do one that I absolutely love. It might not sell. I'll do one that I'll go, yeah, it's all right. It's not really me. And it'll sell within days. Other times, those sorts of ones don't sell for ages, and the ones that I love are gone within a day or two, just when I think I might go back and get that back and keep it for myself. So if you're selling them, don't concern yourself too much, okay? Just because you don't like the paper doesn't mean that others won't like the paper. Right, so here's some of our papers. We want This one is our spine that we're going to be sewing our signatures into. We know we can't go over 5 inches. Okay, so we're going to take this back to, our papers will finish about 4 3/4 inches. So 4 3/4, we're looking at 9.5 inches in full length for the full ones. You're looking at around about 6 inches in height. Mine will be different sizes and all the rest. I'm going to set that aside and we're going to have a look at some of these. See, now that one will go in there perfectly. So I want, what did I say I wanted? 9.5 inches. And we're going to chop that off. So I'll just grab, whoops, sorry. Oh, now here's something else you can use. For those of you that have been scrapbooking, we all know about these, I don't know, whatever they're called. You know, they go in all those albums. We call them journal cards now in journaling, but in scrapbooking, I can't remember what they're called, but they go in the multi-pocket pages and all the rest, and they come in 6x4s, 3x4s, all of those sorts of things. But I will use these either as a pocket in a large one, that side, not necessarily that side, and I might cover that side. But for something like this, I would fold it, and it would also go as a small page in one of these journals. So he's to go in as well, so just as a sidetrack. So this was actually a wedding paper. What did we say we wanted? 9.5. So 2.5 off. I'm going to take that a little bit smaller because I don't want that bird, that butterfly in there, because I might use them as something else. Okay, so we'll chop that because they might be used as something else. So which brings us back to that. Can be just folded straight over. See, this is the difference. This is Kaisercraft cardbook, scrapbook paper. This is Marja Designs. There is a huge difference, and you will find with so many different brands, they all have different weights. But personally, I don't mind that in a journal because it gives it that different texture as well. So I don't worry myself in mixing brands as well as mixing papers and things like that. So there we go. Simple as that. Right. This one, so I'm going to cover that, but I need to take off my strip first. Go that way. Straight down there. This one doesn't, from memory, have anything on the other side, so I can get rid of that. See? Scrap. Gone. Right. So this one, I'm liking this side. And what I plan to do is have a tab. So we said, what did we say? 4 3/4. 4 3/4, 4 3/4, 9. It gives us 2.5. We can do exactly that. So if we fold, I'm going to pull that back up because it's easier. It's just easier. So if I go 4 3/4, 4.5. 4.5, I'm thinking. So 4.5, 9. Right, and then that one is my tab. Sometimes it's easier just to do it that way. Alright, so this one will fold back on itself, because that would have been my page. That's where it'll be sewn in. This one, I can fold it like that. Now I can either have this as a tab that'll pull out, or I can trim it a little bit smaller and have it as a pocket and just glue or stitch down there. So this is something that we'll have a think about as we go. So that will go in there, that will go in there. We had this one, which is higher again. So see how we've got all these different heights? Now, this one should be about 6 inches. It is beautiful. And this is this bright red one. But I really like, I'm having a grid section at the moment. I'm really into grids. Don't ask me why. I spent, finally, and that's why we have holidays, because I'm on holidays. That's got nothing. I spent 4 hours the other morning from 8:30 until 1 o'clock coffee dyeing papers. Oh, just my favourite thing to do. And and I'm still, no matter how many showers I've had, I am still trying to get coffee around my hands. But what I started to say with all of that was the amount of grid paper I coffee dyed was just unbelievable. And then, of course, the next day I had to do tea dyeing because I had a hope of laces that I got from an op shop that were white. Needed to put them into my colours. And, yeah, so then I tea dyed and then started tea dyeing more papers with that. And, yeah, I've had a ball. Had an absolute ball with it all. So, this one we're leaving as our full size. And again, it's got that red. So this one's going to actually have a pocket. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one as we did with the last one. And we're going to go 4.5, 9. And that will become a pocket. And I'll trim some off and we might use it elsewhere. So, because that red is just, wow. It's not me. Not in journals anyway. And I'm going down there. This one's going to fold in there, and I'm going to already trim that off because that should be 3 inches. Don't need 3 inches. I probably only need about 1.5, I'd say. Yeah, let's just trim 1.5 inches off that, which then gives me a little bit more to make a pocket with later on and to originally have this pocket. So if I go to 1.5, make sure that's nice and straight, kind of. Right, and I'll have that to do as a pocket on something else. So that's going to be sewn down there, but that will have, you know, like, my scraps box over here. I know this is the wrong size, but see, that'll have something like that go into it. And then your pocket's there and you can't see the red. For me, anyway. So that's that one, and I want him to go that way. I can rearrange these later on, but I like them all the different heights. This one, again, I can do all sorts of different bits and pieces with. We might do the same, and we'll make him a little bit smaller so that he's not out as far. So this one I'm going to score at 3, wrong one. So I've got one that goes with this, and then I've got my standard one. Work that out. So 3, 6, and then I could nearly do 2 of those, but we'll have a look. Now that's not straight, any way, shape or form. Could do 2 of those, couldn't we? So let's just score that at 6 again. We'll chop off down here. I'm just going to chop that off where that one is. And then that one will be folded. Straight down like that. So then I've got 2 little bits so that when they go in, let's just put one, like so. And we'll put one in the centre. Like so. Okay. So this one, I like that blue. Don't like that. But I can trim that up to that. Let's do that first. It's just a matter of thinking. And I'm working my way through 12 by 12s without actually even using full ones that I've got floating around. Right. So that can be scored just in half. I don't know what size it is. 7 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is it? 7 and 5/8. So it's 3.5, and 5 is 2, 1, 2. There, is that right? With inches? Let's have a look. 3.5. What did I say? 3.5 and I tell you. So yes, so 3.5 is my 7. 5 is 2. That one. I'm thinking. Wrong one again. What do you reckon? Nowhere near it? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because it's on one side and the other side. What does matter is if it's straight or not, kind of. Just because then it sits in there a little bit better. And again, this is a really thick scrapbook paper. Can't remember what brand this one was. And yeah, so all right, you can go in there. Right, what I want, sorry, keep forgetting I've got a microphone there. All right, so let's have a look at this thing. I'm thinking of how we could use this. I would like it clear, but whether it'll fold or not, whether I have, let's just play. See, I would like that. To fold it, I'm going to, well, here's the thing. I can put a flap on that, can't I? So that it, let's say it sits like that, has a flap on it that goes the other side. We can do that because we're clever like that. I'm actually thinking I want it that way. So let's just trim it, which will be the bottom of that one, won't it? No, because then I've got my flap going there. It's going to work better that way because it gives me a border to actually do the flap on. It's all right, I can have something in that, can't I? All right, let's have a look. So I need something that I can do as a flap that's a little bit heavier weight. So we'll go back up to these. Find some, don't want it too dark. Oh, look, I've got some with score lines already. See, they're my little bits. Look at this. I've got score lines already. So technically, that's my flap, isn't it? Except it'll be trimmed down to the right size. So it's going to be trimmed down there. We'll move this because I've already got score lines. Whoops. We'll grab that one. And I'm just going to trim this down because I only need it. Now I want that side a bit wider. It's all right, I'm thinking. I want this side wider, which will then be covered up anyway. This one will be trimmed down, and only this one. Okay. So, and I want him trimmed down to about, what, about that? Just yeah. I don't really need it much bigger than that, so we'll go there. There is a method to my madness. Finding this one. Right. So that'll be adhered onto that, won't it? If I use some double-sided tape on that one to start with, just a narrow one. I'm thinking, how long does it need to be? Trim all that up. About that long. Chop that off now. Like so. And I might just trim that now at that one. Right. But technically, that's what I've got. Let's have a look. Glue will be fine, won't it? Glue will be fine. Watch the glue because it's so hot here at the moment that the glue's all running like mental. We've got so many fans going in the house. We've got thunderstorms forecast for today. I do have a few windows open and it's starting to get really hot because I woke up early. There was a little bit of a breeze out there and it was slightly cooler outside than inside. But since I've been sitting here, which is probably not a good idea because the window's open, I can't get to it. Right. And I haven't been watching my time. I must watch my time. Right. There's that one. Right, which gives me my flap, doesn't it? Yep, happier with that. So, that'll need to be trimmed off where that one is. Like so. Right. Oop, lost them all. Got that one. Got that one. Thinking I want you. Right, now let's start sorting ourselves out. So, I'm going to have a small one in the middle. I'm going to have that one there. I like that. And we might go one of those. one of those, one of those. Want a little bit more. I want one more larger one in the middle, and then I can finish with my really small one. So I'm just going to put a clip on those ones so I know where I'm at, like so. That one's going to go dead smack in the middle, and I want one that's slightly larger. So what have I got here? Let's just have a look. Oh, and I wanted that too, didn't I? Like so. What do you reckon? They're a little bit different. Does need that taking off. But that should still score at 6 inches. Yeah, it is 12, so... And then I'm going to trim that bottom bit off there. It will need to have a little bit, but I'll work this out. Watch. I will work this out. So there's that one. I need to trim off where it says Craft because I don't want it that tall, or do I? Fold those in. That might work because at the moment it's too wide. And I think it'd look funny completely. So just, we've got 2 of them. If we muck it up completely, that's fine. We'll do another one or go, yeah, that was just a bad idea. What do you reckon? So, I want this wider than that, but narrower than that. So these ones are around about 3. So if we go 4, 4 1/4, it's going to be there. So go back 4 because here's my middle line. 2, 3, 4 1/4. See, who says we can't use all our old scrapbook paper? That would actually make a very nice tuck spot, won't it? If they were straight. But I can straighten them, that's fine. I'll just trim that bit up, like so. Now this will make a rather large clunk because it's going through so many layers like that. But I got through it. That's why I like this trimmer. Right, happy with that. That's going to be that. I'm going to need to put something across there, but I don't think I want anything across all of that. So what I'll do for that, let's face it, I could tea dye it, I could coffee dye it, but we're here right now and I haven't got any of that done. So let's just tone it down, give it some oomph, give it a little bit of difference. Just going to give it a backing, more or less. Okay. Don't need to do those because they're going to be folded over as tucks. I want a strip going along there. I could even put some ribbon or some lace across there. Let's give it a little bit more colour. go back with the brushed corduroy and just lightly, very lightly, give it some definition. There's not that much on there, but okay, just like so. And now what I want to do with it, apart from clean up all that, stamp some images on the back of that. So I've created my own background. So when they open, and you've got tuck spots in there, I like that. I like that. I've got so many of these sorts of ones that we might just have to do that. That's very white, isn't it? Let's just, and again, this is just me, because I don't use white. Have to tone it all down. Tone it down, but you know what I mean. Off colour it. It'll still have pocket or something going on this side. Right, so it's just giving it a little bit of oomph. I'm going to do my edges like so. Like that. And my centre crease has already got that lovely colour going in it. So I've just given that some extra oomph, is what it's called for me. So we've got those now. That's going to have that. That's going to be in there. We have now got our signatures. Yep, lovely. Look at that. And then I can pop those ones in there. We are done with our signatures. They can now start to be decorated, and we can work out what we want, and then we can sew it in. So I will finish this one now and go and get myself a drink and a Band-Aid for all those that actually saw what I did there. Be careful with knives. And until next time, which will be very shortly, I will continue doing this now. I'll just, I'll upload this one, and then hopefully within a couple of hours, the next bit will be uploaded and we'll get this one all done. So if you're just here for this one, thank you for watching this one. I'd like you to come back for the next one. Thank you guys anyway. Till next time, happy crafting. Bye.